How's it going, everybody? Electrify here, back with part 2 of our life. And today we're going to continue on our journey as we build a relationship with a new neighbor and see how the relationship is with our parents and our household and see what we can make out of it. Without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to continue on, and we left off right here. So this is towards our neighbor child, and we thought he was nervous, and I'm indifferent about him at the moment. So let's go ahead and go right into it. Let's see. Yes, you won't be able to change it again until step 2. Alright, here we go. Early the next morning, you were poking at your food, eating it slowly. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but you stayed put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out.
Excited to see your new friend again, Jessica? I guess.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast?
I think I might want to give her an accent. Let's see. Yeah, I'm done with my breakfast. With all the exasperation an 8-year-old can muster, you looked at your empty cereal bowl, then at Mom.
Okay.
Okay, attitude kid, we see.
Good job. He should be here soon.
Cleanup began, and then, on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were at the right place. Still loud, though.
We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Jessica, could you get it?
Because Mom said so, you wandered over to the door. Hey, more family! Thanks for having us! Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him, and Mom and Mommy looking behind you. You and Cove looked at each other. You studied code apathetically. This was the parents' plan, not yours. Not seeming any more excited than you were, he just stared back. You twisted the threaded bracelet on your wrist. You twisted the crystal bead bracelet on your wrist. You twisted the flower bead bracelet on your wrist. We have a lot of bracelets. You twisted the shell bracelet on your wrist. Let's go with shell.
Do you want to go play in your room, Jessica? Sure. So, my room is this way.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids.
Do the motherly accent. See you later, son. Play nice. You led him into your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, a window to look out. Let's see what we got here.
So we got, oh wow, she's extremely artistic.
We do have some stuffed animals, that's really cute. Got the desk over here. Alright, still have some. Alright, not a bad room, not a bad layout. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall.
I like this.
Me too, I drew that, thank you. Be humble.
You're welcome.
You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the walls. You started to feel a bit nervous. You felt the atmosphere was kind of awkward. You were glad for the company. You hoped he liked your room. I felt a little bit nervous. That's how I would feel, especially at that age, inviting someone over I never knew. You wanted to say something but didn't know what, so you let him keep looking. Then his eyes landed on the tiny box of beach things you collected, tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it before hesitating and pointing at it instead.
What's that?
A hoard of stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there?
Dragging the box into the middle of the room, you and Cove flop down next to it.
Yeah.
You gestured to a piece at the bottom, still covered with specks of sand.
Neat.
Neat. This is a good collection.
You got the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice or to be like Shiloh. He actually meant it.
Ah, Shiloh's coming over.
Shiloh?
My sister's friend. He wants to, meet you.
Do I have to see him?
It'll be okay, I think. Here, I found this shell in a log and...
You pulled out a she shell after she shell, explaining where you got in each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past few years, you'd even learned some of their scientific names. The collection was huge and varied that you had lots of funny stories to tell for all of them. Your voice faltered a little bit, but you kept going on as best as you could. We'll go with this one. We learned some of their scientific names. You had a whole picture book dedicated to different shells in sea life. You learned a lot by flipping through its pages. Apparently fascinated, either by the stories or by the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like the full force of his attention. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus, even if it was the only directed at the shells.
Kids, come down to the living room.
You could tell the idea was making them happy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because he thinks you found each other by accident, not that a parent made it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway.
I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them.
Great. Okay, be careful. You should have asked. Okay, be careful. We don't want to put any pressure on him.
I will.
You weren't sure if you could trust someone else with your treasures yet, so you stayed next to him while he opened the lid and peered inside. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Ow! Like he hadn't spoken out loud. He turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining.
I think this one is the best of them.
That's my favorite too. I like it. I like a different one best. I can show it to you. You can take it. We'll give him the shell. It'll build a good bond. Cove looked at you in surprise, his eyes going wide.
Really?
Sure. You like it a lot, right?
Uh-huh, but I don't want to take it from you. It's okay.
You got the impression he was hesitant to accept something because he didn't know you very well. And that's normal. You insisted, you let it go. I insist.
No, it's okay for you.
You pushed the shell against Cove's chest, willing him to receive the present, but Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arms tightly at his sides. It was a battle you couldn't win, at least not today. Cove was your neighbor now. Maybe you could give it to him another time. The two of you were still sitting on the floor, looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, you figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that.
Lizzie's friend?
You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings very well. You could tell what he was thinking right away.
This isn't a good idea.
I'm sorry. There's nowhere to go. He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you.
Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked on the back of the house.
I can go out the window.
He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. Oh, we have a lot of options here. Do you want to break your other arm? Shiloh is the least scary person alive. Cheer up, Shiloh's gonna like you. Please don't get hurt. I'll come with you. Good idea, let's go. Ooh. Do we want to go out the window with him? Ooh. I kind of want to see what Shiloh looks like. Let's see. He likes everyone, I mean it. But I don't want to see him. I don't know him. I come for him. You're right. Meeting new people is really hard. I'm sorry. Thanks. Shiloh poked his head into the living room. It was impossible to know for sure if he heard what you've been saying or not, but you guessed that he had.
Hi.
Oh, hey Shiloh.
Hi, Jessica. And hi, a Cove?
Cove shot you an uneasy glance.
Hi. I'm Shiloh. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah. You have a lot of freckles.
Right, I do. What are you guys doing?
We're looking at shells.
Can I do it too?
Awesome. Can I do it too?
Cove shrugged and looked back at your box of beach findings.
Well, what about that one?
So we're back up in the room now. The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach things some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else. You held out a recent find to Cove, a scallop shell that had washed up on the shore.
It's a pretty color, kind of like my cast.
The beautiful glittering pink did look a little bit like the wrap around his arm.
Pink is a nice color.
Okay.
Oh?
Is it your favorite?
Not really.
What is?
Maybe green or blue. It might be yellow.
Oh, those are all cool.
I guess.
I guess.
I like those colors too. There are better colors. Not sure how to deal with the suddenly more awkward silence, you look back at your shells. We'll agree with them. We'll jump in on the conversation that we like the colors too.
Awesome.
Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either.
Is Lizzie coming back?
Don't know.
Aw, where'd she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Is she playing at her park?
Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of the park, and he looked towards you.
There's a park.
Yeah, but it's old.
Can you show me? I want to go.
He started getting up before you had even answered, and Shiloh jumped beside him in excitement.
Really? You do too? Right, Jessica. The park is fun.
I love it. The park is pretty good. The park is pretty good.
Yeah, it's right at the beach, so there's lots of fun stuff to do. And lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings.
That sounds like it could be cool.
So, are we going to find Lizzie?
I don't know. I never really wanted to see her. I just wanted to check the park out.
Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you.
Okay.
He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that if it was so short, she could always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging out on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth.
Hey, Lizzie.
Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide.
Jessica, Shiloh. Hi.
Oh my, I'm making too many voices. It's gonna be hard to remember. She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had abandoned you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was just the three of you, but now Cove was here. You weren't sure if this was an improvement.
Who is that? It's Cove. He's new.
Hi.
I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together.
She gestured widely with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggle your toes through the warm sand.
Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? Lizzie is the oldest. By a lot. My mom said you're Jessica's age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought so. I'm still the only one in this group with double digits. What about other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here, and Shiloh is just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth.
Oh.
Oh.
For a second, it looked like he might cry again. But something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie.
What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have any kids. They hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything.
Only some of them don't like kids. Stop saying stuff like that, you're gonna upset them. Yeah, they're really bad. Probably only some. You interjected quickly, hoping Lizzie wouldn't take things too far. Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation.
I met Lizzie and Jessica in school. You'll see tons of kids there once summer is over. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end.
Shiloh looked down to the dirt. He hasn't had much luck striking up conversations with Cove.
I like summer vacation a lot too.
All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Shiloh's discomfort, at how weird she thought Cove was, at something else entirely. You didn't really know, but she laughed, face scrunching up.
Okay.
Okay, welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat. Put up your feet and get used to it.
What is right? For the rest of summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days, when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way the sun and lunch and the beach were. The first summer, you hadn't really been interested in him, one way or another. He was just kind of a fact of life, someone you met with because he was there. Of course, that was the start of things. Moment select. Step 1. Shopping, grown up, long day, sandcastle, and fireflies. Lots of choices. Alright. Long day, sandcastle, fireflies. We'll save it right here. Alright, let's check out shopping. Hi. Come back before it gets dark, alright, sport? The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you've been watching inch slowly across your pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you first met Mr. Holden. Although, he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, Or maybe you made a noise because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You gotta learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together till freedom is sad, then jogged over to join the two.
How's it going?
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Jessica?
Nothing.
You toed the pavement in front of you. It would be nice to tell them about the snail you found, but you didn't know if they liked snails. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. It does? You weren't sure about that. You know, Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? You shrugged. Cove was in the process of making a similar motion. You didn't have anything else to do, and you hadn't been to the stores in a few days. Maybe there was something new to look at.
Maybe. Is that okay?
I guess.
I was going by myself, but I guess it is. You don't have to.
Great. I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd, since your mom's only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. Here, he leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend too. Sure.
Good kid.
That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening him back up. The bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. He followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. We at the beach. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide, creeping up the sand as he fell into the place beside him. It was a nice day. The sun was shining, and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind was coming off the ocean and kept it from being hot. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. Are you looking for snails? Are you looking for shells? What is it? You didn't feel the need to ask why. What is it?
Nothing.
He kept staring down at the ground though. You bit down on your lip a little, wanting to say something else but not knowing what. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times, and although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. You didn't either. What did you want to go to the shops for? What do you usually do on the beach?
I need a new sand pail. Yeah? What happened to your old one?
Cove narrowed his eyes, seeming to think deeply for a second.
Whoa.
It disappeared.
What? Really? Cove ducked his head down, lacing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like he was going to continue, so you nudged his arm.
How did it happen? Well,
Cove opened his mouth and then shut it again, considering.
I took it to the beach one day.
Uh-huh.
When I got home, it wasn't anywhere.
You left it here? Oh, you left it there?
Nope, it wasn't at the beach when I went back.
Then you lost it.
It disappeared.
So.
What about you? What do you do out here?
Let's see. What do we do out here? I don't even know. Swimming? I don't come to the beach a lot. I like swimming. I like looking at fish. I like to build sandcastles. I really liked to build sandcastles when I was young.
Last summer, Lizzie and I built one that was as tall as me. And sometimes they have sandcastle building competitions down by the boardwalk.
Cool.
I bet you could win.
You smiled at Cove. Maybe the two of you would build one together one day. Oh, we're at the shops. I like it. Looks pretty. Once you reach the shopping area, the noise low grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts, sign me up! It's nice, it's not very It's nice. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at the familiar sights. There were so many things to do, you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just excited as you were. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out.
What's that?
Cove pointing to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Amazing Alexander. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander! In the center of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over that read, "The Amazing Alexander," in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on the sign? Cove hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the Amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. You bit your lip reluctantly, starting to follow after Cove again. You continued looking over your shoulder, however, wanting to see as much as you could before you got too far away.
Hey!
Not watching where you were going proved a bad idea as you bumped right into Cove.
Oh, sorry. Did you want to stay or something? If that's okay.
He briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before returning them to place.
You could have said so.
With that, it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 diamonds. Watch closely! You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Whoa! The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Nothing. Tell me. You backed away. It was true. You didn't keep anything there. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer, then wrinkled your nose in confusion as you watched him. You felt a tug, and then he pulled a 4 diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You didn't know that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't know how he had done it. There was a light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being normal circle. Hey, one for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you're really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card.
My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with the cards.
Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. Maybe it wasn't so special. Cove was just running the fun. At least he had a fun time. You wanted a close name if it was magic. At least he had a fun time. You saw a magic trick and you got a great balloon. That was more than enough to make it a worthwhile event. You thought that if you could find a card to practice with, maybe you could make it disappear too. The crowd started to clear some, and he noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. So he picked up a kaleidoscope, Rubik's Cube, Magic 8 Ball. He walked past the toys. Let's pick up a kaleidoscope.
Oh,
You shifted your balloon string to your other hand so you could bring the mysterious tunnel to your eye. A whole palette of colors appeared right in front of you, spinning to all kinds of different shapes as you twisted the end of the tube. Cove picked one up and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Did you have places like this in your old town? Are you having fun? I don't really like it here. You said nothing. Let's see if he has any place like this in his old town. Cove blinked at you for a moment, and you wondered if you shouldn't have asked. You knew how much he missed that place. Not really. You nodded in understanding, looking over at the stalls nearby. Got some crabs, some sharks, some dolphins, and some turtles. While Cove looked at the sand pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid out on it. They were sewn in the shape of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read, "Handmade," standing proudly in front. There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, and a turtle. Let's see. Let's pick up the shark. Your hand stopped on the shark. A devious smirk filled with the sharp teeth on his face. You weren't supposed to go near the sharks in real life, but there was something about this shark you liked, and the fabric on its back was soft when you picked it up. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that it was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than $5 bill to your name. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh, it's $6. I didn't bring any money.
Alright.
It's fine.
Are you sure? Cove took the keychain from your hands, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself too.
My dad told me to.
You were a little nervous, but happy with your purchase nonetheless. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you too. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly.
Hey, Cove. Yeah?
Does your dad always give you money like that? Thanks for getting me it.
Okay.
It wasn't clear if you really accepted your thanks or not. What? You were going to thank him for the keychain again, but considering he only did it because his dad told him to, it probably didn't matter. Cove raised an eyebrow, but didn't push the issue. Cove looked further down the street where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around for a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you? I want one. I want a plain pretzel. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. It had a little sprinkling of salt on it, and that was just how you liked it. Though the little cup of icing Cove got with his did look delicious. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down.
These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat.
Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree, before an idea hit you.
I know.
After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged a balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand and tied it in a delicate bow around his wrist.
Oh,
Oh.
Cove bounced his arm up and down in a place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled satisfied. Could you help me too? I can't tie it on my own wrist. He repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast restricting his fingers on one hand and the string already tangled around the other.
okay.
Got it.
The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked over the ocean. After a time, you finished your pretzel. You were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held up the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. It was turned to face towards the beach. It almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining parts of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping his dolphin too. Mine's name is Merryweather. He's the prince of the dolphins. Mine's name is Splash. They star in movies. My name is Cherry. She's actually an alien. Regular dolphin. Prince of the dolphins.
He wears a crown made of seaweed, and all his friends are merfolk. Every now and then, he'll make friends with a kid and let him ride on his back.
You sighed. Wishing you could meet a real dolphin like Merryweather. Oh, Merryweather.
What's yours?
Cave, considering this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation.
It's
With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons.
oh no.
For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten.
Oh no. Who's Alexander? Oh. That's right, Alexander the Great. We could go find the amazing Alexander. He could give you another one.
You want to see if Cove cry, and that's really all you can think to do about it.
No.
No. Cove stared sadly at what was left of his dolphin, tears rolling down his cheeks. He wasn't moving an inch from that spot. Cove spent the rest of the outing sniffling and didn't talk much. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back that late afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sandpail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling your new keychain. Another summery day was drawing to a close. It'd been nice, for the most part. Hopefully there wouldn't be any tears next time. Wow. Cove. He popped his pet dolphin, his balloon dolphin. Oh, we could have got him another one, but he didn't want it. But that's going to be all for this episode. I think we're making a good start with Cove. I'm excited to see how it's going to play out. Grown up, I don't know when we're going to actually... I'm guessing this is everything that we have. I'm not sure if there's extra steps. Maybe step 1 is still childhood, but we'll find out. But without further ado, that's going to be it. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video for future content like this. Alright everybody, it was a good time, and I'll see you next time. Electrify out.